So, Jason, how'd the Bombers play?
Pretty decent. Pretty decent.
Pretty decent?
Yeah.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video where the Bombers really tempt fate. Okay, so we have an interesting game here. So, week 10, game number 9 for us. The Bombers would win with a 38-29 victory in concerning fashion. Concerning fashion being that we were down 15-0 to start this game. In concerning fashion, as Zach Collaros got injured. Now, he was on the sidelines after his injury, so the hope is that that maybe he was okay, but because Drew Brown was doing pretty decent, they decided to just kind of roll with him and be more precautious with Zach Collaros. I mean, if you've taken a look around the league this year, there's no shortage of injuries. They are just everywhere. Every quarterback seemingly is getting injured. Like if we look at out in BC, Vernon Adams Jr. was injured. He's now going back in. Dane Evans wasn't practicing, so there's BC. If we go over to Edmonton, they were having their big shuffle, and then Calgary's being consistent with Mayer. Then Trevor Harris got injured. Then you go to Hamilton. Bo Levi Mitchell got injured. Schultz got injured. You go to Toronto, Chad Kelly had that one game he got shaken up in. You go to Ottawa, they had like 3 quarterbacks get injured, and Crum is like number 4 or something like that. So it just seems like everywhere quarterbacks are going back down left, right, and center. And so I've been terrified with Collaros because his pre-Brommer history is very injury prone. So I hope he's okay, but we'll have to see. So I don't have a full game breakdown quite like I did before, as I was with some friends watching this game, also in different places. I was like watch part of the game somewhere and part of the game somewhere else, so kind of made it difficult to take some notes the whole time. But yeah, the Edmonton Oaks would go up 15-0 in the first quarter. Bombers would put up 10 in the second, but they'd still give up a touchdown. So, just kind of a rough score, losing 22-10 for the Elks going into half. Thank goodness they had a really good second half as they needed it, with 14 points in both the third and fourth quarter respectively, with Drew Brown kind of leading the way on the offense. Drew Brown had a really, really nice game with 17 receptions on, I think, 24 attempts. Threw for over 300 yards tonight. And man, that Kenny Lawler catch, the one-handed catch in the end zone for the touchdown, absolutely fantastic. So you love to see it. But this game, there's a few things that was concerning. The rush blocking for the offensive line, where did that go? Thank goodness the pass block was relatively good in the second half. Sorry, it was one of those things where did Drew Brown have some pressure? Yeah, but they held them on pretty long, as Drew Brown was having to kind of wait for his receivers to get far because we were going for those big yardage. When we kept taking penalties and went to like 1st and 30, let's try to avoid that. We were actually still able to get the first down there got one throw for 10 yards, and then we got another throw for 12 yards, or for just over 20 yards, sorry. But it's one of those things where we took a penalty for illegal participation, where Dembski was on the line of scrimmage, but he was not allowed to. There was one where we had ran out of bounds and then ran back in for a block. And so it was one of those things where it was just stupid, avoidable penalties. So we have to make sure that we stay away from that sort of thing. But overall, I mean, 38-29 victory. That's good, and I'm glad to see that the Elks continue their losing streak at home, obviously. And the Elks now go 0-9 on the season. Bombers up to 7-2 to be, I believe, now first in the West. We'll have to see the results of the Calgary versus BC game on Saturday to see if we're still tied with BC for that spot, and just record-wise, or if the Stamps can get past them. There is the possibility, as I now know that Dominic Rhymes as well as Dane Evans are going to be out, so no Dane Evans is backup for Vernon Adams if he gets hurt, And Dominic Grimes takes out a key receiving piece of BC Lions offense. So you hope for the Stamps to be able to maybe do that and give us first in the West. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, we still put up 38 points. It's one of those things where we weren't going to put up 50 points. I knew this was going to be a closer game. I'm a little annoyed with the fact that after we have a really, really good game, we can't play a follow-up game with the same intensity or even close to that. Because the thing is that if this is any team other than the Elks tonight, we lose. Like, realistically, it's like we really dug ourselves into a hole early with this game. And it's going to be one of those things where I really don't like that, us always having to claw out of these holes that we dig ourselves into. We've been fortunate enough to be able to do that, but it's one of those things where because of the fact that, because we're going to be going against a tougher competition, eventually that's not going to work. And it was one of those things where I've been saying it all of last year, and it eventually bit us. Great Cup game. Where we finally weren't able to dig out of that hole. And it's one of those things where I just want to have a consistent 60 from start to finish. This was the Bombers kind of getting back to where they were before earlier in the season, where they didn't play the first 30, but they played the second 30. So it's one of those things where playing, you got to play the full 60. You got to play the full 60. I haven't even been able to see 45. I haven't really seen 45. I don't consider 10-7 a victory in the second quarter. I don't. Because you gave up for 15 in the first. So it's one of those things where I like 10. Like, you should be going 10 and zip. Really, really shutting that gap. But it is what it is. No lineup changes going into this game for the Bombers, which was kind of a relief to see for the most part. I hope Janarian Grant eventually is going to be able to get back to the team. But nice to see that no one was injured from our prior game. I saw a lot of people complaining about that game. People complain about the loud crowd rule and whatnot beforehand. But I mean, I cover that well in the Bombers versus Lions video, so check that out. But when it comes to this game, attendance at Commonwealth was rough. It was rough. I mean, to be fair, this is not a game they'd be expecting a win, but I mean, they almost did get one, as they did a good job taking advantages of our shortcomings. And that's the thing, as much as they were our shortcomings and it was us actively shooting ourselves in the foot, credit to Edmonton, they did pick up on it. So it was one of those things where, you know, I guess a team led by Chris Jones can do something. It's unfortunate for them, though, because that one thing that he can't do is win. It is what it is. But let me know what you guys thought of this game in the comment section down below. And yeah, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. And I will see you guys next time.